If we want to go ahead and start the presentation, that's fine too. I'm trying to stay very mindful of the time. And it's should be, there we go. And hopefully everybody can see that bit of text. Okay.
What's your name?
My name is Chris. And the subtext says, go ahead, Google my first name. I dare you. And if at any point in the conversation you care to reply to me on Twitter or say that I suck or whatever, I put my Twitter handle at the bottom, lower right-hand corner of every slide. So yeah, I'm frequently asked what it is that I do. And it's difficult to explain what I do because what I do is me. My career is carved out of my own passions and interests. So back in 1992, when I first got online, long before the web was around, I was addicted to communication and sharing thoughts and ideas with other people from all around the world. It was thrilling, sitting across a computer lab with an individual, emailing the person and not talking to them, and we were able to communicate without talking, and that was exciting for me. Not because I'm introverted or an agoraphobe, but it sparked something inside me, and I was addicted to the internet from pretty much that moment forward. Started getting into a lot of news groups, posting creative writing, poetry, prose. I was always looking for really cool software. For back then, it was the PC, largely in the days of DOS. And I became addicted to software and realized that, I've got to figure out how I'm going to make this work for me. And at that time, I was an elementary ed major with a theater minor and quickly switched over to an English major with the English education because I had to do something with the English degree, right? So I went into English because I was really enjoying this internet thing, and all you can do on the internet at that point was really type. You could do other things. You'd have to view a graphic, you would first have to decode the graphic, this string of text, and then re-encode it on your local machine to view this image that you downloaded from the internet or Usenet news groups by and large. It was a kludge for all intents and purposes, but it was fun too. A bit outdated by today's standards, but it's what pulled me in. And so when people wonder how I have continuously been myself over the years, I have no explanation. It wasn't a major. It wasn't anything that I had expected to do. Everything that has come has been through just opportunities popping up. And so when people ask me what I am, what do I do, it's very difficult to say. It's other than I'm just Chris, I'm myself. And I'm very lucky to have carved out a career that allows me to be myself. And I could only hope that those of you in this room who have been hoping to, I guess, keep your own passions alive and figure out how to make them work, as in how to make money, that Open Camp will help you down that path. So let's see if I get this right. Yay, it worked. So yes, I'm a geek, but I am not a developer or a designer. So if you tell me that you don't like the way something looks or works, I agree with you. I think my blog sucks. I think everything that I work on sucks. It could be better. I suck, right? So I'm not going to stand up here and say, oh yeah, my stuff is awesome, and you're going to need to come and visit my site because it's best. No, it sucks. Seriously, it's bad. I constantly struggle, with visions of what I have and what I see. This could work. This could really happen. But I have no ability to design or develop. So I have to wait for it to happen. Back in the day, when I first started LockerGnome, it was a series of email newsletters, because that was something that I could handle. But even then, I had to figure out how I was going to distribute email newsletters with software that didn't exist. And most of the software, even today, kind of sucks, although it's much better. We didn't have tools like WordPress around. CMSs, content management systems, were expensive, unwieldy, way beyond my reach. I guess I've been a blogger since at least 1996, long before blogging software was around. It was just that personal voice that allowed me to communicate with people all around the world instantaneously and share our passions together. So, yeah, everything that I have, I'm not very happy with. I'm not happy at all. And I've been reaching out consistently over the years to try to find partnerships to make my stuff work better. When I know there's something that I need and I know that I can't get to it, sometimes I will crowdsource it. If it's an idea that I think could benefit everybody else, like the ability to archive tweets or maybe make up some fun text, if I know I can't do it and I think it should be relatively simple for somebody else to do, I don't hold on to that idea, because holding on to the idea is worth nothing. I can't execute upon that idea. And I have the same frustrations with, one of the primary ways that I drive revenue or create money online. My blog, and specifically a blog network, which is what Locker Gnome had evolved into. But the bottom line is that it hasn't stopped me from doing what I do. I know what I'm not, and that's good to know what I'm not. It's good to know what you can't do, because then you know where there are gaps to fill. But just because I don't like the way something's working or looking, yes, it keeps me moving towards trying to find a solution for it, but it doesn't keep me from using it. And so many people get caught up on, I have to have this, that, and the other thing before I can do this. It's not always the case. You don't have to be perfect to just start doing something. The tools are definitely there. I mean, a phone these days can do everything that you possibly need, whether it's entering text, recording video. You don't have to worry about fancy setups, and you don't have to worry about getting this particular microphone, this particular lens, and this particular lighting. It's not really about that. If that is what, if that's what's holding you back from doing what it is that you want to do, you're holding yourself back. The technology is not holding you back. Just start doing it. I do hate PowerPoint. That's why these slides are very anemic, but I have to keep myself somewhat focused. So with that, in what were the words that were used? Contentization, communitization, and commercialization, I think, somewhere in the description on open. That's at least what I read on the iPhone app. I'm like, all right, I can do that. So I've long explained that community is inside of each and every one of you. You're familiar with the Venn diagram, crossover of different circles, and if you think of yourself as a walking Venn diagram, all your interests are wherever you go. Sometimes your blog could be an extension of that, if it's a personal blog, or if it's a blog about a particular passion of yours. Maybe a professional blog. It may be something that you're doing as a part of a business or a larger entity. But it's not really, I guess, an ecosystem of sorts, to use a phrase that Microsoft uses all the time. Community is not separate from commerce, is not separate from content. They all kind of go and flow around one another. And if you focus on one more than you focus on another, you have a chance, a great chance of losing the third component. So where does it start? Well, I don't know. Sometimes it starts with commerce. Sometimes it starts with a product that you're selling, and before you know it, it becomes the thing out of which springs the community, and out of the community springs content. Could be content. You could be publishing something, your perspectives on the matter, maybe photos, video, text, whatever. You're producing content, and out of that content, people come to you and realize, hey, you're an awesome person, and I really identify with you and what you're doing, and suddenly there's community, and out of community then comes commerce, because, hey, we want a t-shirt with your face on it. It's happened. You're probably not going to make a lot of money with t-shirts, by the way. That's a mistake I learned long ago. Don't listen to your community for everything. Because I thought, and this is years before Cafe Press and Zazzle, these great services where you can upload a logo and print something on demand. Great services. Didn't have them way back when. And I would get people saying, you know, we really like your little Locker Gnome character. This is a cartoon I drew of my face. And, have you thought about doing t-shirts? I'm like, not really. And then I just happened to meet someone who did this, a brander this is what they did for a living. And so we, kind of guessed, and we printed some stuff up. That stuff sat around collecting dust for the longest time. And I thought, yeah, this was stupid. there's times to listen to your community, and there's times your community will tell you where you're going right and where you're going wrong. But ultimately, you are in control of your own direction. There was a time back in 1997, I think I was distributing the Locker Gnome email newsletter, which is, I wrote a lot about software way back when and what you could do on the internet. Believe it or not, I mean, it wasn't that big. So one day, I had written something apparently in the newsletter that upset someone, and so they emailed me back, a rather nasty email, and I felt bad because in just about everything I do, I put my heart and my soul into it. I put myself into everything that I do. I can't find any middle ground. I'm either in or I'm out. So I felt bad, and my roommate at the time walks in. He's munching popcorn as he was prone to do. Hopefully he's not going to get diverticulitis because I don't think he's ever stopped. And I was depressed, and he says, "What's wrong?" I said, "Oh, this guy complained. And I did something, and he's right. I said it wrong, and I offended." And he says, "Oh," he keeps eating his popcorn. He's like, "How many people are you emailing at this point?" I said, "I don't know, like 20, 30,000. He says, "Oh, and how many people complained?" I said, "Oh, just one guy." He said, "Then shut the bleep up." I'm not going to mention it. I'm not going to say it. I'm trying to be respectful with language. But yeah, he basically said, "It's just one guy. One guy out of 30,000 people complained." What was I worried about? And that put everything into perspective for me. So it sometimes is a bit difficult to be able to communicate with a lot of people and lose yourself in that. And not necessarily thinking about what other people are going to think of you. That helped me get over that hump because I'm just going to be myself. And if you don't like me, I don't care. I really don't care. Seriously. I'm not going to spend the rest of my life trying to suck up to people who aren't going to like me no matter what I do. If you have one takeaway from this session, let that be it, okay? Be yourself. Be yourself, the content will flow, the community will happen, and potentially commerce. But if you let the community tell you where you need to go without you feeling you need to go there, you're just going to have problems. Because then you're living your life for somebody else. You know, I'm sure I ask people to follow me on Twitter, right? But I also apologize if you follow me on Twitter or watch anything that I do, because I don't think it's that great. I really don't. And I'm honestly doing a lot of it because I want to do it. And I love sharing. And because of that, I guess, you know, some people have, you know, been interested in following what I do. You can do the same thing, really. And here's the kicker, and I'll get back to this again in another slide. You have as much power as everybody else in this room, myself included. Everybody in this room. The internet is this great disintermediator, and it was even way back when, and it's only gotten easier to publish your thoughts. If your thoughts are good, if your content's good, you can rise out of the din of the content mess that is the internet. If you're doing something unique, good, valid, people always ask, well, how do you get started? You just do. What are you waiting for? If you're waiting for an invitation, it's not going to come. The invitation is that the tools exist. There are people who are already a part of your community. You just may not know it yet. Serendipity will bring opportunity. Serendipity will bring people to you. Of this particular puzzle, content and community and commerce, the one that may never happen is commerce. But between content and community, that's a pretty strong bond. And I'm sorry I didn't indicate that with scale of arrows and everything. I've got OCD, so I had to make everything as even as I possibly could. I do. So I love the OCD FW tag. It's like, although it's not in alphabetical order, so I was kind of like screwing up some hashtags earlier. So you probably, if you wanted to catch my tweets, you got to look at the other alphabetical order tag. I'm kidding. Don't search for that. I didn't really do that. Although it does annoy me.
The last one beer, please.